Worship 14:8-10 NKJV 8. And another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. 9. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If anyone worships the beast in his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy AR. This passage delves into interpreting the phrase, Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The Greek order of words supports the translation that the Lamb, referring to Jesus Christ, was slain in the Father's eternal counsels. This is substantiated by 1 Peter 1:19-20, which parallels this idea. It also references Bishop Pearson's exposition of the Creed, which emphasizes that all atonements made throughout history were only effective through the blood of Christ, as he was the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Furthermore, the passage discusses the exhortation in verse 9, which is a general call to attention from Christ himself. In verse 10, my commentary highlights different manuscript readings regarding captivity and being killed by the sword. It references Jeremiah 15:2 to support the idea that those destined for captivity or death have their trials appointed by God's fixed counsel. The English version, however, interprets this as a warning to persecutors that they will face retribution in kind.
Verses 8 through 11 are a powerful reminder of the consequences of aligning with evil and rejecting God's sovereignty. It emphasizes the finality and severity of God's judgment against those who choose to worship the beast. I have a thought-provoking question for you. Why do you think the concept of the Lamb being slain from the foundation of the world is significant in understanding the overall message? I will give you the answer at the end of this film clip.
Rev. 14:11-13 KJV, verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascends up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. Verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God in the faith of Jesus. Verse 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead, which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Verse 11. The phrase forever and ever is translated from the Greek unto ages of ages. The lost have no rest day or night, in contrast to the four living creatures in heaven who rest from sin and sorrow, but not from praising God. Verse 12. This verse resumes the theme from Revelation 13:10, emphasizing the endurance and faith of the saints who will face persecution for not worshiping the beast. The Greek word hupomene signifies patient, persevering endurance. Verse 13. This verse offers encouragement to those persecuted under the beast. It records a blessing for the saints who rest from their toils and persecutions, as their eternal rest is imminent.
Verse 11. Those who worship the Antichrist and receive his mark will face eternal torment in hell, with no rest day or night. The phrase forever and ever emphasizes the unending nature of this punishment. Regarding the phrase continued worship and torment, the present tense used for worship and torment indicates that both are continuous and unending. There is no repentance once it is too late. Verses 12-13. The saints' endurance and faithfulness to God are highlighted, especially during the Great Tribulation. Regarding the phrase blessed rest, the dead who die in the Lord are blessed and will rest from their labors. Their works follow them, giving significance to their efforts for.
Dave's commentary contrasts the eternal torment of the wicked with the blessed rest of the saints, emphasizing the importance of endurance and faithfulness. Overall, Dave's commentary provides additional practical applications, emphasizing the continuous nature of worship and torture, and offers more encouragement and comfort to the saints than Fauset's commentary.
Rev 14, 14 to 16, KJV, verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Verse 15. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. 16. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped.
Aaron, do you have something that you can give us to explain these verses that John has read to us?
Verse 14, the Son of Man, depicted as sitting on a white cloud with a golden crown and a sharp sickle, symbolizes Christ, who is ready to execute judgment. Verse 15, an angel emerges from the temple, urging Christ to use his sickle to reap the harvest, indicating that the time for judgment has come and the earth is ripe. Verse 16, Christ thrusts his sickle into the earth and the earth is reaped, signifying the gathering of the righteous and the execution of divine judgment.
Thanks, Aaron. You did a great job making this commentary concise. You emphasized the readiness and finality of this divine judgment, highlighting the separation of the righteous from the wicked. Let's listen to Dave as he gives us his comments on verses 14 through 16. Take it away, Dave.
In my commentary on Revelation 14, 14, 16, like Aaron's commentary, I see John's vision of Jesus being referred to as the Son of Man, sitting on a white cloud with a golden crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. To me, this imagery signifies Jesus' authority and readiness to execute judgment. An angel from the temple calls out to Jesus, urging him to use the sickle to reap the earth's harvest, indicating the time for judgment has come. Jesus then uses the sickle to reap the earth, symbolizing the gathering of the righteous and the execution of divine judgment.
Let's join John once again as he finishes chapter 14 of the book of Revelation.
Rev 14, 17 and 20 NKJV, verse 17. Then another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. Verse 18. And another angel came out from the altar, who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying,
Thrust in your sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe.
Verse 19. So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. Verse 20. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress, up to the horses' bridles, for 1,600 furlongs. My interpretation of verses 17 to 20 is, beginning with verse 17, another angel with a sharp sickle comes out of the temple in heaven, ready for judgment. Verse 18, a third angel with power over fire calls to the angel with the sickle to gather the ripe grapes from the earth's vine, symbolizing the readiness of the wicked for judgment. Verse 19, the angel gathers the grapes and throws them into the great winepress of God's wrath, representing the severe judgment of the wicked. Verse 20, the winepress is trodden outside the city, and blood flows out, reaching up to the horses' bridles for about 180 miles, emphasizing the extent and severity of God's judgment.
Thanks, Bill. I agree with Dave on verses 17 and 18. The third angel comes from the altar where the prayers of the saints are offered. These prayers bring down God's fiery judgment on the enemies of the church. The earth is ripe for punishment. In verse 19, the vine, representing the apostate world of Christendom, is judged because its grapes are wild and unrepentant. Therefore, this judgment is not on the heathen world, but on those who have heard of Christ and turned away. And finally, in verse 20, the judgment occurs outside Jerusalem, the site of Christ's crucifixion.
This will conclude our presentation of chapter 14 of Revelation. Next week, we'll move on to chapter 15, and I'm sure we'll have a splendid time discussing that chapter. If you haven't already done so, I would like you to make it a habit to visit us for our forum each Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. at Fellowship Bible Church, Middleburg, Florida. Thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.